This portion of the CU podcast is brought to you by RexMD. Guys, I know it can be a hassle to go to the doctor. First, you have to make an appointment, then you got to drive there, you got to go through the reception, and sometimes there's certain issues that you may not be comfortable telling your MD. But here's the thing, most men's health issues have really simple solutions, and RexMD is all about simple solutions.
RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they deliver to your door. There's no office visits, no talking to a receptionist. It's super simple. Viagra can cost around $90 a pill, but RexMD has generic Viagra for as low as just $2 a pill. All you do is fill out a quick medical questionnaire on their website, and a doctor will review your situation and prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. Your medication gets shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. It's fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your US licensed RexMD physician anytime that you need to afterwards. RexMD has helped over 300,000 guys get generic Viagra quickly and conveniently. And RexMD just works, and it works the very first night.
Act now. Take advantage of their deal by heading to rexmd.com/CU podcast. Our exclusive deal will save you up to 95% off, which is as low as $2 per dose on generic Viagra instead of $90 plus on Viagra. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/CU podcast for up to 95% off plus a free gift. Your partner will thank you.
Patrick, since you stole my thunder on the intro, for that one, I'm going to introduce this one. Heritage Auctions recently had another auction, and you know...
Really? They did? Heritage Auctions had another auction?
And you know, we love to cover them, so take it away, Patrick.
You know we love covering inflated bubble markets. That's what we do on the CU podcast. Proud to do that since 2013. We're 1 month away from our real 10th anniversary, by the way.
Oh my God, that Mahjong is fucking thrashed.
Yes. So they just did another event. The reason I knew about it because I get the cards in the mail, and I saw something that I thought I maybe used to own, but I could be wrong. But I own something very similar that I'll get into.
I think I know who owned this Mahjong card, and I'm not even fucking joking.
The person we both know?
Yeah, because it's got a lift in the same corner.
Well, good.
I mean, maybe that probably. I don't think this is their auction. I think they got rid of it a while back.
They sold it,
but I think that's the one they had because I think theirs was boxed.
Sure.
Anyway,
so this auction was just, and I just closed my window by accident. I had it open. Good job. I was distracted. This auction went off recently, and from the main takeaways we're gonna get into the big boys. We'll start with. Then we'll look at potential, I guess you want to say, trends or things that stood out. First, this was literally, Ian, just at Comic-Con the past weekend because, I'd say since 2018 is when I first started seeing graded video games at Comic-Con. It was, I think about 2018.
That's probably about right. 18 or 19.
I think it was 18. Started seeing them. I saw an NWC card there. At 5.0, a gray one, and the person, I love it.
I still can't believe we fucking rate those.
I just love it. I guess looking back in my life, I guess at this point it's weird when I have someone that works for an auction house, when I walk by, I go, "Hey Pat, what's going on?" And I'm like, "What? Do you know me? Did we meet before?" And so we talked about the NWC, the 5.0. It's obviously beat up. A lot of them are. They were used. The label was re-glued back on because a lot of them, they're folding off the top, things like that. So this went for, with the premium, it went for, I don't have it open, goddammit. Was it 63,000? 63,000. I have to sign in. Why do you make me sign in to see auction rules? $63,000 it went for the gray. So I guess to me that means that there's not many, there's only a couple that are probably in like a lot worse shape. The ones that don't have labels would be, but
the one that has Mario written on it,
which I saw in person in Missouri before the pandemic.
I have literally zero interest in ever owning an NWC, but if I did, that's the one I'd want.
So the funny thing is I think this is sort of like establishing, even though I hate it, the different grades and what they can get, because a nicer one has gone for over 100,000 or around 100, and I guess like the lower grades will go for around whatever. This is establishing the bottom of the market. Around here, you want to say around $50,000, things like that. The pre-auction estimate, I think, was actually $50,000 that they had at Comic-Con. Was that? I did talk to the person at Comic-Con, the representative, about, you hear anything about a gold one coming up? And he said, no, haven't heard one. I was just like, okay, that's really going to be the test that I guess everyone's going to have their eye on if it actually happens anytime soon.
Sure.
But I guess people aren't in a rush they don't need the money that have them. So I don't know. So anyway, there's that. What's the next one here I have on here? The Mahjong. Ian's Grail. It says Ian's Mr. Mahjong.
One of two grails. This is probably my grail. Well, I'd prefer the PC Engine Mahjong game that only has like 13 copies. But yeah, the Mahjong one is interesting. So this is the Mahjong cart for the Hong Kong Famicom. And that's a neat system because it was they came in light gray Nintendo style cartridges instead of the smaller Famicom cartridges.
Well, it's an NES.
Yeah.
It's just the Hong Kong NES.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it's just interesting to me that they chose to go with that exact form factor. I figured something in Asia might have used the Japanese form factor. Also, the boxes are really short. I think the boxes are super cool.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're like the size of the cartridge. They kind of look like a Game Boy box, but, you know, a little bit bigger.
They're adorable. I forget if I own a box of that or not. I forget. Or I don't know.
Anyway, this is one of the rarest...
this is rarer than a stadium event.
Yeah, this is extraordinarily rare.
And I don't know what the print run was. I had trouble tracking down when I did the guidebook what year it actually came out. Because there's like copyright 83. That's when the Famicom came out. There was no Asian NES version until probably at least 87, 88 or around there. Right. So it's like, because that did not come out the same time it came out when it was test marketed in the US. So it's really an interesting mystery why this came out just there. And that's it, and didn't come out in any other part of the world.
Well, because Mahjong is incredibly popular
Sure.
in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, and they all play different. What's interesting to me though is this is Ricci Mahjong, not to get real nerdy, but that was a fairly recent rule set at the time that the game was originally released.
So it's not
in '83. In '83, I think was when the original came out. I think Ricci Mahjong got popular in like '78. Here's the thing: that's not the Mahjong that they play everywhere else.
Sure.
Ricci has become popular because it's been focused on in anime and manga and stuff. But what's interesting to me is I can imagine being a person who, if I was a person in, say, China or Hong Kong, and I bought this ready to play Mahjong, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And maybe that's why it sold poorly.
Well, we were burying the lead. So this went for, what does this go for? Why can't the numbers come up here? $12,000. These obviously include the buyer's premium. $12,000, and it's not even complete. It doesn't have the manual.
Nope, it's box, and that's right. This is it. This is the one. He had two. He had a loose one that was in nicer condition, and I believe a box complete one that he kept like this that was in worse condition.
Sold this one. You think?
Well, I don't know if this is their actual auction.
It's not because it's not graded. It's just offered as is. Which is interesting.
Yeah, because that box was. I'm pretty sure that's his. That's funny.
Yeah, because you're now getting ungraded things showing up in heritage auctions more, which is good because you don't need everything fucking graded.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Especially something like this rare. So that was interesting. It was interesting to see that because like that's actually should go for that amount. There's very few things where I say that should go for that money. This thing is so rare that it should go for that amount of money.
Yeah, this is one of those things where like I feel like that's actually a pretty reasonable price
to a true collector.
I mean, not for me, but yeah.
Yeah, like if I was a crazy person and so wanted to like complete like a true NES worldwide set, that would be the hard one to get. That'd be the hardest one to get out of all the other Asian, because there is Asian NES versions and Hong Kong ones that like you can find them with some looking. This one you cannot, obviously. So that was interesting.
Yeah, this is a rarity among semi-rarities.
Yes, like it's not often when you say this is harder to find than a stadium events card for commercial use.
I mean, I remember reading somewhere people said it was probably the hardest NES related game to find. That was officially released.
Next one is really strange because I think it was a misbid. A Legend of Zelda complete in box. First print run, first production, $28,800. I would be shocked if that's paid for, or if that was either it was a false bid, or someone really fucked up. Because
sir, there's I don't even think someone shill bidding would do that. Like that to me looks like
because it has the cellophane around it. But it was opened up. They probably saw cellophane and didn't say, "Oh, that's probably."
They're like, "Wow, that's real low."
Wow, the last one went for $100,000.
I'm buying this. Yeah.
And I think they fucked up. And this is the problem with heritage auctions, unfortunately, where you don't know what actually doesn't get paid for. And you know, talking from Sean from Reserves Investments, if something doesn't sell, you might never see it ever even offered again because people recognize, hey, that's the same one. Someone's fucked up. You might never see this again.
Right.
I own one of these. It's on 9.4, but it's in great shape. You can find these. They're not hard to find a first print run of a Legend of Zelda. They're always on eBay. Like if you go on eBay, you probably see a bike now for several $100s or $1,000, and someone just spent $28,000 on one.
Luna had one recently. I don't remember what the price was, but it wasn't even that high.
Of course, because it's a very particular collector wants not just a Legend of Zelda box, but cares about the first print run. This is not gonna if it's someone trying to create like a first print run Legend of Zelda market, because most people, even the people that are speculators, be like, this is ridiculous. Like this isn't like you can find these things. Maybe not a 9.4, but like you can find them. There's one on my shelf. I mean, they're not that hard to find. So that was interesting. The first time I seen something, I was like, at first I said, oh, I was going to start to compare the sealed ones, you know, previously, because I said, oh, maybe the last one's $100,000. I'm like, oh, this isn't sealed. Someone just fucked up. So I was just like, oh, that could be funny to talk about with Ian, right?
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that one was entertaining to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I jumped in and said it was funny and said that Luna had one recently for cheaper.
I need your approval. I feel like you yelled at me in the last segment.
I didn't yell at you in the last segment. We got into a heated discussion. I mean, it wasn't even heated. It was just good.
It was lively.
It was back and forth. It was lively. It was fresh. It was fizzy.
The next one is Nintendo Power issue #1, like a traditional magazine or comic book that was graded. This is a CGC. They are the kings of doing the magazine and comic book stuff.
And what was the grade on this one?
9.6.
9.6. Okay.
So this is like fresh out of your vanilla envelope. You would have got it mailed to you because they printed a fucking million of these and mailed them to every kid that had a Fun Club card like me. So this isn't even the harder to find variant that says free issue. It says free poster inside. So that's the one I have. I literally still have my first one. I think it's over there by the Genesis games. So 26 for, I know in recent years these have been more coveted, but this is obviously super speculative for something like this because like obviously you can find these issue ones everywhere. Obviously the higher grade will be tough to find, but I have to imagine that some higher grades of these are out there and someone still has these or gobbled these up originally because they printed a lot of these. So
sure,
that's the thing. It's obviously grade matters.
It's the grade in the case, and also that thought that we will get to a point where this will be. This person is either they want to sit on this and see what happens, and I don't.
Literally, is they crack the case,
and I don't think they care. I don't think they cared about the money they spent either. This was purely a let's find out.
Could be a vanity thing too. It's like, I want to get the highest graded copy. They probably didn't realize this isn't even the harder version to find. I don't know. I don't know how they divvy that out. Anyway, so that was interesting to me. So I thought originally the next one I used to own, and I think I did not. So this went for $13,200. This went for a bit more than I thought.
Oh, I thought you said this was an orange one, a red one.
It's not.
Oh, okay. The one that you got rid of was. Yes. Okay.
So this is an unopened action set, NES action set. Zapper, the Super Mario Duck Hunt combo came out. What was that? Came out late '87. I think the fall of '87 they started doing those. $13,200. And when I first saw this, I thought, Ian, the little mark on the bottom looks very familiar to the one on my red one. If you remember,
I remember even telling you. I think I'd know the mark if you sent it to me. But yeah, the red gray that's the clear giveaway.
So I used to own. So this was supposedly not open in terms of like the flap wasn't even opened. I guess they use a black light to see if like there's a little crease or something or any this because when you bought these were not like sealed up.
No, they were in a box.
You're in a box. You open the flap and you open them. So I had a red one, a red gun action set, red Zapper one. I got the swap meet for probably like $40, and I bought it probably like 2011.
You really think it's more red than orange?
Orange, red, whatever.
I'm just curious. I'm colorblind. I'm literally asking you because I don't really know.
I guess it's orange.
Okay.
It's orange reddish. So I had one and I had trouble selling mine. This is what makes it so funny. I had trouble selling mine. Mine obviously I opened up and I looked at it, but everything in the baggies, not touched. You saw it.
Yeah.
So the new system smell. I had trouble selling that at the SoCal Retro Gaming auction that I ran and helped auction off crap back in 2017. It was the one in Ontario.
I didn't go to the first one, so it was 2017.
2017. I think I got only $300 for mine, or $250. And now, if you probably auction it, you get it. I mean, it's been open the flap. You can probably get several $1,000s for it. Apparently, I don't know. I think that it's interesting, the mindset of wanting to own. This is just me. A sealed game, I can almost understand. The console, first of all, it was never hermetically sealed, obviously. And it's like, wouldn't it be cool just to open it up and look at the pieces inside? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. But I went for 13.2. I thought it was interesting.
Just sitting in there yellowing over time.
Yeah, it's almost sadder in a way. It's somewhat more sadder than the games to have the console. Like
Well, there's generally more games produced than no. There wouldn't be.
No. There's always more consoles.
But yeah, I just don't like the idea of the actual hardware. Like, I get it with a game sometimes. And
I mean,
in the games, once again, you can get ROMs, but the systems, going back to the stuff that you were saying earlier in the video game history discussion, systems are needed if you want to recreate the experience.
Yes. If you want to literally for, accessing games originally how they were meant to be played, you need the hardware.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a controversial thing. That's what you need.
Right. So I do get more upset about seeing that stuff.
Visual experience will never replace playing it on the original hardware. It's a different experience entirely. And the games look differently.
Yep.
On top of that, which we don't bring up too often or enough. Games that have plummeted. We love this part. We love this. And I didn't go through like 10 or 12. I picked out a few here. Contra. 9.6A just went for 11,400. That's still a lot to me. But
not as much as the 60K it went for in October 2021.
Yes, that's a $49,000 drop in less than 2 years.
That's what we call taking a bath.
Yes. The way Ian needs to, because he's multi-layered in the summer. Ocarina of Time, the regular non-collector's edition, a 9.4 A++, 6.6 thousand, but 2 years ago was 14.4 thousand. And even August of last year was 8.4. So that's a slow and steady decline there. And then interesting how they're still scared to auction off a very, very high-grade Super Mario 64. Interesting how they're scared to do a 9.6 or a 9.8 the past couple of years since the last ones went down precipitously, like over $1 million. Remember the one Super Mario 64 9.2 A+, 7.8 thousand. A year and a half ago it was 21.6 thousand. That's a decline of Pat Math about 58%. Off top of my head, something like that. Get out a calculator. Yeah, but it had an extra plus, Pat. Yeah, go. Yeah, eat me. Extra plus. What is it? I've even talked to people that said, yeah, that's bullshit with the pluses at that point. It's like, yeah, like it's so subjective at that point. The grade.
But yeah, I kind of like all of it is to a degree, but at least you can formulate things to check and whatnot. Yeah, but literally a seal quality is your eyes.
A+ is supposed to be A++. I mean. Like, what does that mean?
110%.
And the reason why I know I'm right, because there's like no reaction video from someone who's very bad. I got all these examples of an A++ being better than an A+, and it's like, is really a scientific like grading guide for that? Again, I have the Overstreet Comics grading guide, which literally tells you how to grade comics. Please release one for seals of games.
If you have a 9.8 A+ and a 9 point, and you cracked it open and got it immediately regraded, and you just kept doing it, I bet you it would even out to 50-50 on whether it was a plus or a plus.
Eventually you get there, or go down. You can go one or the other. Yeah.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
toss up.
Did 100 of them, it would be 50-50.
Like a blind taste test of them, so to speak.
Yes.
You crack over 20 of them.
Yeah, take one and have like 100 people grade it.
Sure.
See what it comes down to.
So those were the bigger takeaways. The other thing is going to the Super Mario 64. I thought it was, and the auction might be still going on right now for like Super Nintendo games right now. It's very, 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 very interesting that there was not many N64 games in this auction, and this was a signature auction. Where it's like, this is
which is where that was supposed to
the biggest stuff, like the NWC card. Like this is like the bigger, because I do these regularly, but like NWC card's going to be like the bigger auction.
I'll go out on a limb and say what happened is we started to see what was happening with Nintendo's graded stuff that was getting auctioned, and they rushed bringing N64 stuff to auction.
They struck while the iron was hot.
Well, they did it too soon. And the reason I say this is Nintendo stuff is going to be less available then Super Nintendo is
NES,
going to be less available
Sure.
than the N64. Bringing out these N64 auctions and pumping it up at that time when we are only 20 years from that and we're, 35 years from the NES. That's 15 years the NES had for people to go around and find stuff.
Yep.
So
And
there's still a lot more N64 to discover, I feel like.
well, you said they came out too soon. Not for the people that cashed in. Like the people that got left hold of the bag.
But I'm talking about the overall value of it.
Oh, sure.
That's what's going to eat it.
It's lost.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, it's gone. It's absolutely gone. I can look up a couple more real quick if we want. Like there's like a Banjo Tooie that went for 4,200. I'll look up that real quick, the last one. But yeah, they realize. I mean, the auction people, they're not stupid. They've seen this with other stuff.
Yeah,
coins
they know.
And,
They're going to pretend like it's the next, the hottest thing, and it's always going to be the hottest thing.
yeah, because they've seen this with the coin market, which Jim Halperin on the record, got the feds busted in for helping manipulate the market in the 80s. So they know how it works.
Well, and comics are rising back up, but they also saw this with comics in the 90s.
Then it obviously shot up when the movies came out.
Yeah, like I said, I know that's gone back up, but they've seen it before.
By the way, I mean, just as an aside, we didn't talk about this at Comic-Con. I'm seeing all these Golden and Silver Age comics, like walls of them. I mean, what happens
No one cares.
in 20 years when the people that are the big wig people that are dealers that they're all like in their 60s now, when they're dead or gone? Like, are there going to be people that are going to be like justify, a random Wonder Woman comic from 1948 that's a great condition for $700? Is there going to be buyers for this stuff?
No, and I mean, I will say that in the 15, probably more than that, honestly, years that I've been doing Comic-Con, I've watched the amount of people over at those booths drop precipitously until, honestly, I walked through that area a couple times on Saturday, and the people there were other people from other booths talking to each other. And they seem like very, very stubborn, snobby people, and they're not going to have that market. It's going to be like NES collecting. Eventually, the audience that cares...
The few big things?
The audience that cares is going to go away, and it's going to be the few big things. Your supercars isn't going to hold its value forever.
Yeah, because like you have all these... I mean, everything is graded. They have thousands of these comics going back to the 30s. And I'm just like... They're going to sit on this stuff forever.
Yep.
Like this stuff's going to sit there forever. And yeah, they're going to make their money here and there and some choice things. But
right now they just need those whales. But the amount of things that whales want to buy.
But the amount of money they invested in getting that stuff graded, because they take a percentage of the market price on those things.
They all look the exact same, too. Have you seen those guys? Almost all of them look the exact same.
They're all 65 years old.
Button-up shirt, 55, gray hair parted like this, sometimes glasses. But the thing is, they don't fucking care. I walked by one booth there this year, and on the sign was a big banner of the owner, and it says 2 million in cash available for purchase at all times.
That's not a good thing to advertise, by the way. You have $2 million in
don't
cash
want
on
to
you.
do that.
How do you have $2 million in cash? What do you have, a couple of briefcases?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know if it said cash.
On you.
It might not have said
go to a
cash,
bank.
but it said 2 million, probably in a bank. 2 million available for purchase at all times.
The buyers have to be running out, I think, at some point. And that goes for the games as well. There's going to get to the point where less and less people care. It's like anything else. It's like I'm looking at some of these where it's like I said, people are just, like I said, it's scratch-off tickets. It's going to be scratch-off tickets. Like, your 9.0 Harvest Moon A+ sealed for $1,100. Like, by itself, it's not bad, but that person is also buying 150 other games at the same time.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing about this graded stuff, and you're right that people don't think about enough. I don't think anyone really thinks about this enough, is that this isn't buying, selling, and trading within your own collection. This isn't looking at your collection being like, oh, wow, I've got this really expensive game. Let's grade it and sell it.
Sure.
No, these are people who are buying games and grading them en masse.
Sure.
So just hitting on one, they've got a lot of other money to make.
Sure. Oh, I forgot to talk about my Pikachu set I used to have. I don't know why I sold that. I had a brand new Pikachu N64 because they weren't hard to find. In the early to mid 2000s, they were out Toys R Us still.
It was the only N64 that I ever owned.
Yeah, you could find it.
Because they were very, very easy to find.
So I bought mine from our buddy. Hope he's doing well, Nintendo Dan. I bought it. And then, I don't know.
I should check in with him.
And then in 2000, I probably stole his number. Then it was one of the SoCal Gaming Expos, not the Pasadena one. It was one of the ones at Frank and Sons. Maybe one of the ones with Frank was with me there. Not the Frank and Sons, but my Frank. Your Frank. I had it sitting there. I guess I said, why do I need this? I have an N64, the original one in the box right there. Looking back, I was like, no, that's a cool fucking set.
So it's one of my favorite.
Little cheeks light up,
system.
red, has a little foot reset on it. It's adorable. It's
incredible.
It's adorable. I'm not even a Pokemon fan, and I couldn't sell the thing. This is only like 6 years ago. I couldn't sell it. It was actually, it wasn't even a collector. It was a Pokemon gal, probably mid-20s, early to mid-20s. I think it might have been there with her dad or like an older relative or something. Who knows? But like, she was like, "Oh, I like Pokemon." I said, "Oh, it has the little watch thing in there, right?" It's got this.
I was with you because I remember pulling it out and
we were showing,
making sure everything was there.
She wasn't sure, but I'm like, "Yeah, it's got everything in." Well, it's a good investment, lady, because now it's worth apparently $3,600 if you get it graded. I'm just saying, like, it's just weird because like that's not hard to find. Everyone's probably holding on to them.
Well, I would say that it probably is harder to find than we think. I think the reason why it was so easy to find then when I bought one, because I bought what was the last WWF AKA game on there? Was it No Mercy? I bought that No Mercy, played it for like 6 months and then got rid of it. But that was a late release system.
Okay.
That was a late release system.
But it's uncommon. It's not like it's rare. Sure. That's what I mean.
I'm just saying, but yeah, they would have been more available then because people would have been selling off all of their systems.
Now I wish I kept that damn thing. I only regret, for the stuff that I've sold off so far, I regret only like 2 or 3 things. That's how I know I'm doing a good job. I regret selling my Killer Instinct Super Nintendo set. I really do regret selling that because that was pretty cool. I had the Killer Cut CD still sealed new in it.
I used to have 2 complete Ridge Racer 4 big boxes with the extra controller.
Oh.
I don't own either of them anymore. I regret that. I
didn't know they did a big box version of that.
Oh, yeah. I used to have 2 of them. I had one sealed.
Big box?
I had one opened, one sealed, and a loose copy of the game. I had, at one point in time, had 4 of those Joy-Cons in my place.
Hoarder.
I also regret selling off some of my DS stuff.
But you can always rebuy it.
You can, but some of the stuff I sold off is very expensive.
Yeah, but overall, most of the stuff you bought, you're not going to want again, so you're still,
It's just, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of some of it, because I really do like that system. It was stuff I got rid of in financially tough times. I think I got rid of most of that initially when I was sick. And it was just like, I really liked the DS and 3DS library, and I would have liked to have held on to some of that.
So maybe that's where we were. This is why we close this up, is that video games now for these speculators are where the golden age and silver age comic books were for these folks like 10 years ago, where maybe the interest was peaking on it. And now it's like, well, what do we do now when the stuff's laying around, like, because you see some of those vendors. And here's how you know the interest is different. There's no marketplace that exists where you can go and see like few hundred sealed games for sale the same way you see all the sealed comic books for sale. That's how you know the market's entirely fucking different. When people try to justify, it's like, no.
Even at video game conventions, that's
you don't see
not
it.
there. You see one, You
see someone has 10, 20, 30, but it's very specialized, and it's not like everything. It's an entirely different mindset for getting into it, and it's an entirely different audience. Versus everyone that's a comic book collector would probably be like, well, I can look at these and be interested in them because this is the only way I can look at the first appearance of Wonder Woman. I forget the comic it was in. The only way I can look at it is graded, because obviously the thing is priceless, and there's not a lot of these things out there.
Right.
How many are there?
Well, if I can do a turn on one of our favorite phrases in terms of collecting and markets, get out early.
Get out early.
Get out early.
It's always better to sell when the prices are going up than down. You don't want to be selling when the prices are going down.
Too many people are playing that game of chicken. They want to hit that peak.
You never know when the peak is. That goes for stocks or anything else. NFTs, obviously, people. The Justin Bieber thing came out. He spent $1.2 million in NFT. It's worth $59,000 now. One of the board apes. You don't want to You don't ever want to be the last person owning an NFT or a graded game.
And anyone who tells you that they know something's going up or they can predict that future is lying to you.
That's the way you look at it. Yeah, you don't want to be the last. You don't want to be the last person to ever hold the graded game in your hand.
Nope.
That's probably it.
Hot potato.